gentlemen, the Warbosses of Da ApORKalypse.
Greetings, boys and gits, and welcome to the Warbosses of Da ApORKalypse. Today, we don't really have a particular agenda. We're just going to talk loosely about our love for the hobby and our community, and particularly one of our dear friends. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce today's hosts. We've got Dim, who is the hobby git.
Hello.
Check his channel out. If you don't already know about it, of course you do, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't. We've also got Clint, who is the Essex Boys. Go and check out his channel as well, of course. And we've also got Sid, the Drunken Orc. Also, check his channel out. And links will be, of course, in the description as usual. Sure, you know these boys already. They're regulars on the channel at this stage. So yeah, gents, before let's start by talking about, our hobby and our love for it and circumstances. How should we say? The best way to say is we've all in our community, we in the 40k Orc community, we all come together as a collective of friends more than anything else. So we all share a hobby, but we're all friends. And we've all just recently lost a very dear friend. Clint and Sid were actually available to go to the funeral today, so we'll talk to them in a bit about how that went. But yeah, we lost Gar Zinski, whose channel will be in the description as well. Strongly recommend you go and check out some viewing, because it's kind of timeless stuff, really. It's not really going to age. It's good, and he's just crack up fella. Let me. I'll just explain how I've come about Gar, and then I'll ask you guys. I suppose I first of all noticed him in, obviously, as one of my regular viewers. Like, he was commenting on every video that I stuck out, and it was all. And he's developed because I had the dreads. He developed a little nickname for me of his own, which was Squighead, and he's the only one. Like, everyone would call me Dread, but he'd call me Squighead, and I just loved it. I just thought it was the nicest thing. Like, he'd come up with his own special term for me that he used every time. It's just real sweet. And then I see him obviously participating in comments on Steve-O's channel, and he's like active in the group. I thought, oh yeah, this is a diamond geese, And then as I got to know him even more, just really gelled with him. He always. I don't know whether it's just me wishfully thinking or putting it on myself or whatever. I can be a bit of a big head sometimes, but I felt as if he favoured me in some way, or he treated me special. And I expect a lot of other people probably felt that same way too, because he's just good at that, I suppose.
Yeah,
for sure.
He sent me a lot of bits and bobs over the years. Before he started his own channel, even he sent me over a couple of bits and bobs. He said, I've got a letter here from him, actually. Little short note. It says, "Dear Artie, that's a real cool moniker." I never understood what he said there. Moniker, mate. But the address is a bit of a gobful.
Yeah, name.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
Well,
Moniker, it means like a name, a nickname, or a assumed name, or, just any name.
Yeah. He says my address is a bit of a gobful too, because when I was in Ireland, my God, that was a very, very long address. It says, "Please find enclosed tea bags." Now, it was been impossible to not find the tea bags enclosed, because I've mentioned on my channel, like, I love Yorkshire tea. And when I was in Ireland, I couldn't get hold of it. So I was living in a different country, and God bless him, he sent me a 1.5 kg massive, great big bag. Like, I could cuddle it like a massive teddy bear. Huge big bag of tea bags. Sent that across the sea to me. Probably cost him more in shipping than it did to actually buy them. Like, so he says, "Find enclosed tea bags and a couple of old white dwarfs with my compliments, buddy. Keep up the great work. Coming soon. My entry for the Dread Captain competition. Watch your post box. Cheers, Art." Gaz. And he's done a little squiggle drawing of himself. Look,
Yeah.
that is him as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Like about
Yeah,
9
but-
lines or something. It's
you can still
Just
tell
like
it's
him,
him.
did it?
Yeah. But yeah, he sent me them tea bags. He also sent me Gazgul Fracker, the metal one, because I never actually owned that miniature. And he was like, "Well, you've got to own it," and he sent me it just like that. Like, didn't ask for anything or anything. He just was like, "No, you should have that." Like, and I was like, "Wow!" Like, fucking hell! Like, he could have sold that on eBay or whatever, you know. But he just sent it to me out of the kindness of his heart. So that's not the only thing. I mean, I've got this thing here as well. He sent me. I only just got this out of the box the other day because I've only just moved. It's not because I didn't appreciate it. It's just I've just moved, guys. But it's a Vortex Shaker. So you push your paint. Get a little one there, like get your paint and you just push it on the top, and it shakes it right up. So you ain't got to shake it manually and give yourself arm ache. But yeah, that was that. But yeah, like
I would have thought you would have had plenty of practice at that.
well,
you'll sharp wear that shaker out, don't you worry.
yeah. But yeah, how about you guys? What were your first experiences with Gar, and how did you find them? Did he make you feel special as well, or was that just me?
Well, I can't remember when I first started speaking with him online. I think I'd commented on one of his videos because I wasn't doing the channel at the time.
Oh, he started just before you, didn't he?
He started, I think it was a few months before, to be fair. But I was talking to him about it, and I'd said, "Oh, fancy," I thought about doing one, and it wasn't on the first chat, but he said it was, well, you can do it now, or you can do it later. Because I think I was saying all the stuff to do. I've got this to do, and there's so much time, and so you can do it now, or you can do it later. But if you do it later, you wish you did it now. And I'm terrible for procrastinating. I just put things off all the time. There's always an excuse not
You
to
put
do
the
something.
pro in procrastinate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But just when he said that, I don't know, it really struck a chord. It was like, yeah, that's right. That, and it's not like I'm some wide-eyed sort of like 12-year-old. Wow, wisdom. I'm in my 40s, but I was like, yeah, it's true that.
But sometimes the older you get, though, the more basic a piece of advice, sometimes the more profound and hard hitting it can be. Like, damn, that completely passed me by because I was concentrating on all these little details.
That's it.
Although a lot of the more important things are simple. That's you just forget it because you get distracted by shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah. So when you put something out, whether it was like a pic on Facebook or a video, he was always going to be one of the first ones to comment as well. Like you said, he always commented, and it was always a good comment.
Something meaningful,
positive, constructive comment. He was an absolutely solid bloke.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and like I heard somebody came onto the Discord group. I think it must have been on the 12th. I think he passed on the 11th, and they came on the 12th and said, obviously there's the York 40k community Discord group, or just community in general, but there is other ones scattered about. And they said you couldn't go to a single group and not see tributes being paid.
Yeah.
Because he was just so well loved. And it is loved, like, all over.
Yeah.
No one ever had a bad word to say against him, and rightly so. Because he never had a bad word to say about anyone else, I don't think.
That's very true.
He was very positive member of the community, wasn't he? Just always had something good to say, always encouraging and helping. Just always something positive to say, always.
I think one thing that definitely stood out is he didn't seem to ever be doing anything for his own self. He did actually seem properly selfless, which is a rare quality.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know, I think I came to the 40k Orc community a little bit later than you guys. I think you're all in there a bit before me. Obviously, Dread and Dim, you were, and Sid, I think you were in there maybe a little bit before me as well.
It might have been about the same time.
Not that I remember. My memory's like a sieve.
We all thought you two came as a pair.
The odd boys, yeah.
I can do now.
I do now.
But then it was, I don't know, the guy just started commenting on a couple of my videos I put up before I was even sort of involved in the Orc community. And he was just always racing with my son to be first to like the video. And he got a little battle going with my son and my daughter, because they're always like, I'm like, go and watch the fucking video. No one else is watching it. Quick, get in there. click like, come on. And they have little competitions on the videos, see who could like it first and that. And he was always, just always there, always, oh, brilliant, love your terrain. Just inspired me to do more, just made me want to do more, because he seemed to be enjoying it. Like you said, made me feel special, you know. I think he did that to everyone.
Yeah.
He was in contact with. He made you feel, oh, wow, yeah, I'm doing something really good here.
He can see creativity, and he wants to inspire it to continue. He don't want to see you stop. He wants you to keep doing that. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
you know, that's what it is.
Yeah, and he wanted you to carry on always. And like you, Jed, I just commented, Poke put a little video up of some Commandos he had. And I watched his video and I was like, always wanted them metal Commandos. They're really cool. I'll have to see if I can pick some up. And Gar read that comment on Poke's video. And he goes, I've got some for you. He messaged me and he sent me them for nothing. And I was like, I've got to give you some money. I can't take that off you. And he's like, no, don't want anything. Don't want any money. No, he wouldn't take anything for it. And he goes, you're going to paint them. I'm never going to do anything. They're just sitting in a box. I'm never going to do anything with them. And
similar to me.
Just,
do you know?
They're great models. Those old Commandos. They're freaking great. Scar's got mine. I had them for a while. The new ones have a nice few nods to those old ones, which please me quite a lot.
Yeah.
They are actually pretty damn dope, the new ones.
The new ones are good, but he even sent me. He didn't even just chuck them in, the ones I liked. He chucked me the old second edition ones in as well. Like, he sent me like 14 metal miniatures. Just.
I thought you were on about the second ed ones. Forgot that them ones were metal. Oh my god, that's how long they were around for. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had them in metal twice, those last Commandos. I actually cut some of them up. I've been working on some just lately. I made some of them into tank busters.
Well, one of them's got like a huge fucking stick bomb, which is just perfect.
Yeah.
I've got like 4 of it. Just in a box somewhere.
Tell you what I've done, make Gar proud. Like I've been working on doing what I always do. Changing up a character model. There's our Git Stomper. I've given him a new head, snazzy gun. He's a flash Git now.
Flash Stomper.
Limited edition model converted straight away. Fucking old players fucking Games Workshop's going to be crying. Just all of their employees.
Got me that as well.
Limited edition one-off.
It took Scar ages
out.
Pass me the bits box.
Everybody and their dog got that model before I did, because Scar had got it for me, because it was limited, wasn't it? So he got it for me, and then I didn't see him for fucking ages.
I got 2 before he did. Before he got 1.
I promise I was going to convert it.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, Dred. You've done more with your one than I've done in all that time.
I just didn't like the head. It's just the head's too small, and so I was like, well, it's got to go, so I've got to change it, which means cutting off the head, shouldery bit, and making a neck out of green stuff. I don't
mind the head too much. It's nice. It's nice and close to the Games Day knob that it's based on. It's a good model. But the advantage of having 2 is I can convert one. I know exactly what I'm doing with it. It's going to be for my flash Gits if I ever make them. I mean, I'm hoping I'm going to make. I'm just trying to work up the one. Can be asked at the moment. But yeah,
that's the other one. He's got a classic knob head metal one. And he's got a chain hanging down, and he's got one of the freebooter bodies with the wide pose.
Is that the metal one? Oh no, that'll be the
head. The head is metal.
Yeah, but the main torso is that Grok? Have you used Grok or have you used the
no, it's one of the flash kits.
Oh, is that just a flash kit?
Yeah, just a flash kit.
The pose for some reason the pose made me think of the Assault on Black Ridge Warboss.
The flash kits are amazing torsos. You've just got to not cover them with that massive great big gun.
I can't abide that they're on 40 mils. It upsets me.
Oh, I love that.
And I call them clown shoe bases. Just can't deal with it. Can't deal with it.
Just put them on 32.
It's all good by me.
I mean, it's bad enough that the whole load of the Orc Range is now on 32 mil. Like that's bad enough without flash kits being on 40s.
Grots are still on 25.
Not yet. They're on 50s now.
I'm just waiting for it to happen. I mean, well,
for me, it
means we'll get a better fucking start line.
So many fucking times, but honestly, 32's fine. Absolutely fine for all the boys and that, and Knobs 40s, absolutely fine with that.
It's very, very satisfying to see how wrong you are.
I mean, if I had my way, it wouldn't be all these silly 28, 32. It'd be like
it's straight
15,
up
20, 25, 30, 35, 40, like that.
It's straight up taste, but because I'm wanting to use them for retro 40k largely, I kind of feel bad putting them on 32s and 40s. So 32s is kind of 32s for knobs and flash kits and elite orc units is kind of my, I don't know what you would say, but like sort of my compromise really. Whereas boys, I'm going to keep on 25s because otherwise it's going to get very, very unfair very quickly.
I'll put my second edition Commandos on 32s. I think they don't look too bad.
I think elite units are fine on 32s. I just have a bit of a problem with rank and file, especially rank and file that's like toughness 3 or lower. Like Sisters of Battle being on 32s just upsets me.
There's a reason why they changed it from 25 to 32.
Make it buy them again.
When it was 25, you would have your front rank, if you mass combat mob, sort of like fighting, and then the second and third rank would be within engagement range on a 25-inch base because they're within an inch, whereas you bunker up with 32 and they're not anymore, so it's only the first and second rank fight.
First two ranks.
If you're talking orcs, that's a canny big advantage if you get the third, if there is that many, getting the third lot in. Grots.
Well, that's why our community
can't afford that many, to be fair. So
that's why you got so much outrage from the orc community when they announced it. Like no one else is moaning. It's mostly just orc players because they're like, "Oh, well, I like to get all my boys in." That's what it is. It's gaming people.
Yeah, well, you're losing
for modelling
a third of your attacks.
Like if someone tells me I don't like it aesthetically, I prefer the way it looks on the 25. Genuinely, I'm like, fair enough.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
I think genuinely boys look better on 32s.
I do.
I think for me. I mean, granted, most of the time I'm aesthetically driven. Most of the time, but I just it's an element of gaming pragmatism. I guess it's because I'm guessing it's because I've always got a skirmish mindset more than anything. Like with Necromunda, for instance, like that was one of the things that upset me about sort of the new direction they went with Necromunda because they really upscaled and added a whole load of like a whole load of 32 mil base models like the Goliaths and stuff. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I'm kind of mixed on it. I mean, in some respects, I think it makes sense, and in some it doesn't. But just, I mean, 40k isn't really the problem child for this for me. The thing that the game where I really hated this the most was War Machine because you've got those very lipped bases. There's like a whole load of base
that you
not fucking need at all.
The other ones I'd go like that. They sort of got the rim around the edge.
Yeah. It's like basically, if I'm playing on a board, on like a city fight board, can my model fit in a doorway? If no, why? If it's because it's a load of space it doesn't actually need, I want a smaller base.
I can sort of agree with that. I can see where you're coming from with that.
But I mean, like, the boys are in a really awkward position because they really do hang over those 25s. I'm kind of a bit sort of miffed that, because I think GW did that 28.5 base after the boys got rebased. I think that was after. And I think boys should be on the 28.5s because I think the 32s are a bit big, but the 25s are definitely a bit small. That would be a nice compromise.
Well, 30 even would have been just fine as well. You know, just round.
I mean, it's not like horrible, but it's just like for ranking.
You got your 60s, your 50s, your 40s. Why not 30s, 20s? Yeah, done. Happy.
Because like I play more Age of Sigmar than I do 40k, and I've still got it, but I'm trying to sell it. I've got like a Fire Slayer army, and the Fire Slayers are just like they take up so much space. Like these days they've tried to make it more that like they're elite units, so you only need like 10 at most in a squad. But for a time, the unit was so crap compared to everything that followed on because there is no balance in that game at all. They made it so that like the Fire Slayers were cheap as hell, so the only way to really run them effectively was to run them in squads of 30, so you could maximize that ignore death save that they had.
Don't they balance better on bigger bases?
Oh, wait for sure. I was trying to say that.
This guy.
Sorry.
That's good.
No, you got him now.
But yeah, they just. But yeah, they have to be on. They have to be on. Well, like I do this a lot, but it's a silly example. But like, so anybody else when they sculpt legs, right? GW when they sculpt legs.
Power stance.
Yeah. Big cojones.
They've been watching Tory conferences too much.
Don't want to be squashing the crown jewels, do you? You're running through the field.
It's not. It's more of a samurai stance if you look at a lot of it, because it's like wide, but then the legs go straight down from there. So it's, you know, like that's the legs, like, you know, and like how do they do that? That's got to be painful. Like that's some serious like
yoga
butt
pose,
muscles, isn't it? Yeah, it's a yoga pose. Yeah, it's what all the girls are doing, all their squatting all the time now, isn't it? It's like, oh, I want a bigger ass.
That's why their asses stick out so much, the Orc boys. Yeah. Working on their glutes.
I think we're talking about the yoga girls.
I think that sexy Orcs, he's on something, isn't
he? He must be.
He's realised. The Orc is a sexual being.
Yes.
I only just realising it.
Gets me excited.
That went down a road I was not expecting.
Big sweaty green skin. Boy.
Steve with his nipple fetish.
I'm thinking now that
I thought we'd get through an episode without nipple. Fucking no, not a chance. Not a chance.
Who's that Australian fella that does that really funny bit in his stand-up about the the real gay is you guys with your girls getting yourselves a girl with prim and proper and pretty little. Nah, fuck that, mate. I want a man.
That sounds like Jim Jeffries.
Nah, it's not Jim Jeffries. Steve.
So you lad with the long hair, the ponytail.
Yeah, that's the fella.
Oh, yes. Shit. He's the one who did the thing about the water truck, wasn't it? Is it him as well? Oh God. Yeah, I know who you mean anyway.
Yeah.
Hughes? Is it Steve Hughes?
Yeah.
He's done a tour of the UK.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go and see him because he did a tour in the UK, didn't he? He'll probably be over again though. Yeah, he's well funny. I don't know why that sprung to mind. It did anyway.
Also, I don't know why you're doing this thing of, I hope a stand-up comedian comes and tours the UK. Like literally, like we have the biggest stand-up comedian circuit in the world. we get all of the stand-up comedians because they know, oh, there's easy money.
But do you know what, Dim? It was actually easier for me to see stand-up comedy when I lived in the back arse of nowhere in Ireland, because this is the one benefit of living in a small place like that.
Tickets don't sell out.
Well, they do, but there's 4 cities in all of Ireland. And Galway, the one I was living in, is smaller than most English towns. It's got one little high street. It's barely got anything. It's a really small town. It's got more traffic than it's got anything else. And, you know, and so they'd have comedy gigs that tour Ireland. They'd come to Galway. It would be in like an average-sized pub, and you know, you'd go in and you'd see them in a really intimate location. It was really cool. Like I met loads of comedians when I was over there, because every year we'd have a comedy festival. So like all the best comedians come over. So saw loads actually. Probably more than I'll ever get a chance to see here, because you know, the population's so vast and tickets do sell out on everything here all the time. Can't get in otherwise without a ticket. In Ireland, you don't need a ticket.
Yeah, but you know, less chance of dysentery.
So is that why you like Orcs so much? Is it because of the comedy value?
I think so. Yeah, for me, that's one of the biggest draws actually. Even though I do my Orcs, like the Orc army I'm building at the moment is very like grimdark. It's very definitely trying to be more realism and more sort of like Mad Maxy.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing any silly comedy with Orcs, even though I love that side of Orcs. You can still have like comedy that's like situational, you know, like that's mental, he's going to kill himself, like you know, what is he fucking playing at in that, you know, just you can still get away with that sort of comedy. It's just you couldn't do this more silly things. And I know I'm a freebooter, so like there's loads of silly pirate things you can do, and I will for display pieces for cabinet, but not at the moment.
It's my set, Dim. I like that's why I like the Grots for. I like the Grots for the comedy value.
Well, I mean, look at, I mean, tank hammers. That's it's a comedy weapon.
Yeah,
it's gonna get him killed, but it's deadly serious. He's just making sure that rocket. Because let's face it, he's probably seen his mates fire off rockets all day again. Where you're not hitting out. Yeah. I'm going to tie this one up with a stick and go and belt him in the face with it.
Yeah, I ain't going to miss. You miss, I ain't going to.
You think I'm stupid. You're stupid. Bang.
Used by only Orcs and Russians.
Oh, no, they actually did, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was going to say that video did all of the rounds on all of the Orc-based Facebook groups. When I was still on him.
I think I was already kicked out of most of them by then.
Bomb squigs?
You kicked out? No.
Animals and driving them towards the enemy? Has anybody else ever done that?
What's this?
The Romans. The Romans did with,
the Romans.
The Russians trained dogs to run under tanks. Unfortunately, they trained them with their tanks. So when they let them loose, they just ran under their own tanks and blew their own tanks up.
Sounds very Orky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does.
It's like with
these Orcs are basically Russian.
No matter how many you kill, there's just loads more. That's yeah. I never thought that.
I don't think they're that Russian. They're not in that much of a hurry.
And Rebel Grots are all Russian based, aren't they? They've all got red stars.
Yeah, comrade. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they're based on a very it's just Animal Farm. They're based on Animal Farm full on.
Hang on a minute.
It's a different one, Clint. It's a different one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's not the Animal Farm I'm thinking of, is it? No.
The
George Orwell Animal Farm.
I'm not wearing my George Orwell t-shirt.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. Are you not thinking of Animal House?
No.
The National Lampoon's thing.
Same ballpark, but maybe a little more extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Closer to Animal House.
Oh, is that website you was trying to send me a link to that I couldn't go on because my computer said it's barred in my area or my country or whatever?
It should, but if it is, it should
too
be
full. Your hard drive was full.
Yeah, I needed a VPN to get on that. That was heavy duty, man. Whatever you
Don't
think.
Google it, guys. Don't Google it. No.
Don't Google it.
Don't. Especially if you're under 18.
Or of a nervous disposition.
Yeah, exactly.
Or my mum or nan.
Definitely.
Or just a normal person.
Or just a normal deviant. Crack on.
Go for it.
Insert edit here.
I was gonna say I've just got the voice of Gar in my head, just going like, "Stay on target, fuckers. Stay on target."
He loves the chaos.
Yeah, well, he did. Yeah, it's kind of like because I didn't really get into my things about Gar, but I mean, I don't really have much. I don't have much to add. Like my experience was exactly the same as Sid. Like he used to comment on a lot of my videos. He was always encouraging. He was in Discord a couple of times in voice chat, and we had a little bit of a chat. But I didn't really know Gar that well. I liked his videos. The thing I liked the most was his penchant for ridiculously brilliant. Why can I not think that I'm the wordy guy? Acronyms.
Yeah.
Just like we just spell out Orky words. He just did it off the cuff as well. It didn't look like he really planned it. He just did it. And then that moment when he's I can't remember which video it was, but it just at the start is like, so I watched Dread's vid about 9th edition, and he must have talked about 9th edition for about all of 5 minutes.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
It's good.
Just going back quickly to that, his missus was absolutely made up with this community.
It really was.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Wanted us to mention that she was really, really enamoured with all the positive response she got, and his son got from the Orc community, the 40k Orc community.
Yeah, Ben was overwhelmed by all the messages of support and love that was in respect and all sorts of that was put on his posts and what have you.
Yeah,
really did appreciate it lots.
I do hope in time he'll be active in the. Obviously, he's going to need some time, but I hope he becomes active in the community. It'd be
nice.
Would be.
There was.
We'll all take him under our wing and be. Yeah.
Well, not fucking you.
Oh yeah, no.
Maybe give him an easy life. You know what I mean? No, don't let Steve-O teach him how to use hobby knives. That bit's sort of set. And then just don't ever let him talk to me about rules, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Because here's the thing, right? Because we talked about this.
If he wants to trigger you saying shit, all he's got to do is just walk in and naively say something about loving the hobby, and that's it.
No,
that's the thing for you usually lay into.
Really like this hobby.
All he has to do is.
I'm really loving my hobby right now. I really am. I really enjoy it. And Dim rolls in. He's like, "Oh God, what bullshit are you spilling now?" Blah 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 blah. This is me talking more than I actually talk. That's Dim. Blah blah blah.
Fucking Dread thinking anybody else is capable of talking more than he is. That's the gag.
You are. I'm on a show with 2 other fellas at least that can talk just as much as me.
This is true. And Scar, he's just fucking over it. So,
Scar is
Jesus, just let the fuckers get on with it.
He's the poor bugger. He's got to put up with 3 people that can't keep their mouth shut.
But yeah, to trigger me, all you have to do is say Matt Ward, or who's Matt Ward, or Matt Ward's writing isn't too bad.
I really liked everything in 6th edition. It was great.
The best edition of 40k ever.
Yeah.
I really liked so
feeling. I'm feeling so much pain right now. It's like
I felt like the whole lore took a real direction then. Good one, you know.
They really fleshed it out.
Yeah, they did.
I actually can't stop myself being furious. I can't do it. Even though I know it's for comedy, I'm still like, what the fuck did you just say?
I'm not going to let that slide on air. I can't have it.
No, I can't.
I get the wrong idea. I think it's genuine.
I'll trigger you now.
Okay.
Ninth edition is the best edition of the game for a long while.
I mean, actually, I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's caveats. I've got to caveat it to hell because it's like you kind of got to like the direction that 8th edition has took it with the lack of templates and stuff. And I know there's a lot of people in the hobby that hated the templates and don't miss them, and I'm happy for them. But I like the templates. Fuck you all. I want the templates back.
So do I,
yeah. Ninth is definitely in a better place than most of the other editions. I just hope this, because everybody's like saying, "Oh, we're getting smashed by the new codexes." Hopefully, that means that everybody is getting a good codex eventually.
Orcs aren't getting smashed by anyone at the minute in competitive play.
Yeah,
it's actually this is a concern I've got, is that they're doing too well, and not just this buggy spam that was, you know, the first meta thing, I suppose, meta as a term. But there was the SoCal recently, the Californian Open. What was it in the last of the 4 finalists? Was Orcs, Drakari, and Drakari. Because it's nice to have a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
And the Orcs, from what I can gather, from what I've seen anyway, I've seen one of the battle reps. It was turn 1 tabling.
Yeah.
Just
I encountered that.
There was planes, bikes. There was some buggies, to be fair, but
yeah.
And I've seen a few of them. I mean, Nick Beer had Capitan Morgan on for Orcs Necrons.
Yeah.
And that was brutal.
Mm.
Yeah. Necron's just getting brushed aside by the Dagger Jets and all that sort of thing. And if they do too good, the big metalists, then they will get nerfed.
We'll get nerfed to hell back, yeah.
And that's going to really hurt us, who aren't meta players, who I might look at a Rooker Truck Squig buggy and go, that's quite good. I think I'll have one of them. I'm not running 9 of them. I'm running 1 of them. And yet, when they nerf the metalist, the knock-on effect is my 1 is next to useless.
Yeah.
Whereas it was decent on its own.
Yeah.
Not game break.
You mean like when a bunch of power gaming tournament playing gits spam the fuck out of Gretchen, so now they can't be priced reasonably.
Well, it's a perfect example, basically, isn't it? I mean, you know, if you use Gretchen, if you field an army of 200 grots,
that's my one issue is that
to get around that, it's ruined. I won't even have a unit of 10 grots because I might as well pay the extra few points for the boys, or save myself some points and at least pay the same and get a unit of Commandos or something.
Yeah.
Unless I need the troops, in which case I'll find the extra 40 points and get the 10 orcs who actually will do something.
Yeah. That's my one kind of concern, really, with modern 40k.
Use the proper language. It's not your one concern.
Well, yeah, fucking called out there. One of my multitudes of concerns.
Yes.
Well, one of the deal breaker concerns, because it's like, you know, but there's is the over focus on tournament play and competitive play.
This hasn't happened yet, but it's just a worry.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's a worry that we all share because it does. Like Tim's saying right there, it will take the joy out of the game because
it's for the hobbyists that a game is second, isn't it? Like we're hobbyists that like to game occasionally.
Yeah.
And like Sid was saying as well, like you just get one of them, like because you're only small scale, but they're having to tailor the game to the people that are always going to take it to an extreme and try and crack the rules. So that means that they have to take a lot of the joy and fun and leniency and leeway and that out of it for everybody.
I will give GW one bit of reasonableness because I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to bother with a modern game much anymore anyway. But like, it isn't a problem directly caused by them. Not really. Well, not their current incarnation anyway. New GWTM. It's a thing that the old GW did. It's basically the people who were involved in 40k from the period of 5th edition to 7th edition are the reason why the game is the way it is now, and why a big part of the design of the game is trying to sew up all of the loopholes and things, whilst trying to make a relatively balanced game that's designed for tournaments, while still encouraging sales on the things they want to sell and discouraging what they don't want to sell. And yeah, it's not going to make for a balanced game. My contention is that GW, like back in the day with like even like 6th edition and 7th edition, whilst yes, terrible game, terrible writing, way worse than what we have now. Like, especially the codexes. The codexes were broken as fuck and they didn't care. But like, the one thing I would say is that there was a very broad church of hobbyists in those days, and it was a lot easier for that broad church to exist. Whereas now, because they've started cutting back on things, because they've started being more dogmatic in new kits with monopores, because they're removing options from codexes, they're really dialing that down quite a lot. And because their game is so focused around tournament play, that an awful lot of their earnest attempts to kind of allow theming to still exist, it's not working as well as it should. But they've never got that right. They've never ever got that right in any edition.
I think the current Orc Codex is probably the best I've seen for the spread of all the clans and everything playing to a certain extent to its lore, and everything's viable at the moment. There's not, you can't say, oh, I'm a Death Skulls player. Oh, my clan's crap. This is, every clan is playable and good as well, and plays kind of towards the lore of each clan as well.
Some are better. Some are better than others.
They're always going to have a little bit, but I think they're all equally playable.
Apart from Zodgrod and Gretchen.
Even then, the clans which some are better than others. If you want to charge in and go and chopping someone up, some are better than others for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Goths obviously probably the top boys there. And Suns are still up there with the better movement and what have you.
I mean,
if you want to hang back when you shoot, they're it's different. They've all got the different strengths.
Yeah, but whether your flavour is,
and because there's so many ways to build an Orc army list now, not just green tide. You can go toys. I don't know if I've heard the boys just like green tide thing's gone, and I've not seen it. I don't know. It may well be, to be fair, but
I mean, it's kind of good if it does, because it's a crutch, and B, it's boring for the opponent. Like
it was like the jump was always a staple for your weird boy, because you had a unit of 30 boys that you wanted to get in the backfield, so you always had the jump on your weird boy, and you always had a few CP spare to do do the green tide to bring that unit back on at another table edge, because that was just you expected to do it. People expected you to do it. You had to do it. It was one of the only things we had, really. Whereas now,
so many options now.
Well, whatever flavour of Orc you like, you can
melee, shooting at the minute, I think, is the top boy with freebooters.
Apart from grot lists, grot lists aren't doing so hot.
Yeah, grot lists are they're there.
If you're I'm freebooters, I can just be happy with what the freebooters have got. If you're a Death Skull and you love Death Skulls, then you can be happy with what Death Skulls have got. And same with Sun, same with anyone. Like, no one's been dealt a bad hand. Like, they're all like, you can play your clan and be just happy that you've got a few little perks that sort of fit your army. You don't have to feel obliged to play the other clan because they're just the obvious choice.
Are you actually running freebooters this time, Dredge?
I am, yeah. I've always been only running freebooters. I just fucking on tabletop sim. I played as Death Skulls, and I tried. Did I try Goths? No, Evil Sons. Yeah, Evil Sons. Yeah.
Even Snake Bites now, they're getting some love.
Finally. Long overdue. Long overdue. I was hoping for a plastic squig off kit. I was hoping for that. We got the we got the Fisher Price toy instead, the kill rig. But you could definitely run squig offs as that. I reckon. Definitely an option for conversion. There's a lot you could do with that. You've got a nice big base. You've got a lot to work with, and that's one thing where the current edition is good for the game because of certain aspects of the game where because everything's starting to be more about the base than anything else. You can be a bit more creative. They just need to get rid of that fucking true line of sight if they're doubling down.
I've got a question because I don't really follow any other army but Orcs. With other army releases, have Forge World been doing what they used to do, where when GW bring out a new release and a little while later they bring out releases for that same army? Are they going to be bringing out stuff for Orcs soon or not?
Minimal.
I'd seriously doubt it because Forge World's workload has just increased. And see, this is the positivity episode. I don't know how to say this. They have
their act together for a few years now.
They don't put a lot out, and when they do, it's
the
middling.
only things I've seen are Forge Worlds released recently, and I might have missed a lot, so I might be wrong here, but I know they've done Blood Bowl.
They do star players. They do a lot of star players and some of the big things. So I think we've seen a Grotsuka. I don't know if it's a resin one or a plastic one for the Lizardmen team.
But like all those Cruel Boys, for example, Age of Sigmar, that big, bird, not big bird,
yeah.
You know what I mean? The big sort of buzzard thing with the choice of dudes on the back. Is that? I take that is a plastic kit, isn't it? I was assuming.
I seriously doubt that Forge World are doing any of that stuff. The thing is that Forge World have basically sort of been crowbarred more into supporting the specialist games, and soon Warhammer Fantasy. So I mean, and Horus Heresy, and with that and Horus Heresy, I think if anything, they're gonna just stop production of the nice, pretty 40k things, and either GW start making plastic versions of them, or they'll go entirely. And I seriously doubt that they're going to keep selling those things. They'll get rid of them at some point.
I would fucking kill I almost would, but to have plastic GW official Grot Tank, 4 Grot Tanks or 3 Grot Tanks in a box.
I'm still kind of surprised they haven't.
That'd be so cool.
They're such a characterful unit. I'm really, really surprised that they haven't.
I wonder what you can do with the killer cans, just with the options and what have you.
Yeah, exactly like the killer can.
It's not a million miles off, is it?
No.
Also, they could very easily do like a double kit where you make the killer cans all Grot Tanks from the same spruce. Give us a fucking load of that, GW. I'll have that. Or do a halfway house, bring out a new Grot Tank unit in plastic, so you can start making a Grot Tank army, and then a Grot Tank commander. That'd be nice too. just more Grot Tanks. Need more Grot Tanks in my life.
Definitely.
That's the problem with running Grot Tanks, though. It's like you want to take more of them, but they all take up the same slots. Like the Grot Megas and the Grot Tanks are both fast attack, so you basically have to go Outrider if you want to run a decent amount of them. But
I've got 6 Grot Tanks in my freebooter list.
You don't want to stick a second attachment in.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
It's quite good to do that these days, isn't it?
Well, initially I had them all. I was trying to get them all into one detachment because there was a specific Gretchen detachment that I never got to use.
Yeah,
in the Saga of the Beast. Fucking annoyed about that, I can tell you. And it's not game legal anymore, so I can't use it.
It was a good one as well.
Very, very irritated.
It was a good one as well.
Because, well, yeah, and considering Gretchen are not good, like they're not. Grot Tanks are decent. Grot Tanks are a decent unit.
The cans aren't bad now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on the Grotsuka. I'm still not sold on the Grotsuka.
No.
They've definitely made improvements to how it works. The problem is, I just think for everything that it could do, a big shooter seems to be better, and it's also. Well, I know they both cost nothing, so they're around the same ballpark. I just don't think the Grotsuka does anything well. Kind of seeing as we lost the extra hits from Daka Daka, the extra potential hits for rolling sixes to hit. Honestly, I think they should just like give the Grotsuka like a rule where if you get within a certain range, like maybe half range, you auto hit.
Yeah.
And then it'll give it something, because the fact is it's range 18 anyway. That's why I'd much rather have a big shooter, because people say, oh, well, you get twice as many shots. You could potentially get twice as many shots as big shooters. Well, I'd say, yeah. But if I stretch out over 2 turns.
Well, you couldn't, because within 18 inches, you got is it 2d3 for a Grotsuka?
Yeah.
You're getting 5 with a big shooter within 18 inches.
Oh, that's true, yeah. I keep forgetting.
So you're already,
you
could potentially get one more shot.
They're really going to have to give.
Potentially a lot less.
Because even with the old profile for the big shooter, it's still a better gun. Because it's got twice the range, so you can just shoot more often. So you're shooting as many times as the Grotsuka is. You're just not having to rely on rolling well when something is within 18 inches of a grot tank unit. And here's the thing with a grot tank unit: you don't want to be within 18 inches of virtually anything in the game. Most units in 40k can kick the shit out of grot tanks. I mean, they're better at fighting than grots are, but not a huge amount.
It is like being the world's tallest dwarf, isn't it? Though.
Yeah, and they got good shooting guns. They're not bad at shooting, and they can soak up a couple of wounds. So they're basically knobs.
They're decent.
They're basically knobs. That's what they are. They're like basically like
correct us if I'm wrong here, but all the weapons in the Ork Codex, when they redone them, the Daka weapons, although nothing gets to a Daka anymore, so nothing gets the extra shot on a 6. But all the Daka weapons went up, I think, a good. I mean, instead of getting 3 shots with a big shooter, you now get 5. The chances of you rolling those 3 dice, getting 2 6s, and then converting those 2 6s into 2 5s and 6s is pretty slim. So you're better off with the 5 shots. Likewise with a shooter going from 2 to 3, because getting a 6 then converting it. So they're all improved, all the Daka weapons as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Another range thing comes into it as well, mate. But things like rockets and KMBs, they don't get the extra hit on a 6, but they do D3 each shot now. So that's an improvement. Rockets are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolute tank busters. I had a unit. I've done a battle. I've put the battle report up just today.
I'll check it out. I will.
5. Get yourself snacks, mate. It's not a short one. The tank busters, just unit 5D3 shots. It's loads. If you roll hot, average is 10. You're getting some hits with that. So the point is, they've all improved. It's only, as far as I can think, the sluggers and the Grotsukas, which scorchers and what have you, burners haven't been affected. But sluggers and Grotsukas they've stayed the same, which means they've got worse because they've lost the 6s. But sluggers, if you get a wound with a slugger, you never expect to. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the Grotsuka, I think it's just. I totally agree. It's a waste of time.
Controversial opinion time. I don't think Daka weapons are that much better.
I think I've got to admit, I think they are. That's my.
The problem I've got now is that I can't shake
with the assault thing. You can't be running and advancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Losing assault was a big deal, and also, yes, they are technically an improvement in damage output over the old Daka Daka rule, but the consequence of it is that we've ended up with a gun that is basically just a shit version of rapid fire.
Now, what I would say to that is, if I'm going to use dagger weapons, the only time I'd want to be advancing in shooting is with a unit of boys with shooters.
Mm.
And to be honest, I'm not that bothered normally about advancing with them. Sluggers advance away. I want to get those into combat.
Yeah.
If I'm going with shooter boys over slugger boys, I'm hanging back anyway. They're holding backfield objectives. We're not necessarily, not usually having to advance anywhere. And if they are, shooting's obviously secondary. Everything else, on all the weapons, dear me, vehicles, you can't advance and fire with a dagger weapon on a vehicle, can you? No. But things like looters, for example, they went from heavy to dagger. So although they still can't advance and fire, they can move and fire, which without the penalty.
No penalty yet.
Which they used to get.
You can make them truck boys as well. That's another thing.
Looters really won out on the change to dagger.
When you look at all the things, I can look at the dagger weapon and the assault weapon profile, and I can certainly see, differences, and I can see assault having like key benefits. But when I look at the codex and which units have these weapons, I don't find as many examples of where that benefit is going to, or would, should I say, benefit us. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, well, they would be better off, but I'm not going to do that with them.
Be Evil Sun's
these are better as they are now, and I am going to use that. Do you know? Does that make sense? I don't know if I've explained that.
The old dagger weapons on the bikes, I think, is the only one where it maybe fall down a bit. Just
because
that's the only one with Evil Suns, because they could advance without penalty, couldn't they? Shoot without penalty. That was the only. That's the only one I think is the bikes. Yeah, but.
They're still moving what?
Still bloody
16 inches or something, just with a standard movement. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's still moving enough anyway. Yeah.
I've noticed one thing for freebooters, right? Is that our warlord trait is what's it now? It's going to show off biggest and the baddest, or killer reputation. That's what it's called. Where is it now?
The leadership one, isn't it?
Yeah, but as it goes, if you're playing freebooters, like there's a good possibility that you might just want to run Bad Ruck as your warlord, but he can't have that.
What's Bad Ruck's warlord trait?
Killer reputation, isn't it?
I thought it was.
Yeah, that's the one.
He's already got it. So, cool.
Still, you can't have it twice. What's up with that, GW?
Yeah. That's unlike them.
Bad
I do. I don't like the fact. Well, I know it's obviously going to be with the named characters. I like to sort of tinker a little bit with them, and you can't with those. But the named characters have got their own.
Yeah.
Law.
So it's basically if you wanted to make your own captain, I suppose you could make him.
Although they kind of,
but not actually Bad Ruck.
They kind of disrupt the lore a little bit, because the fact is that the overwhelming majority of orc characters are effectively freebooters in practice, because most of them have been involved in wars that don't principally involve their clan. Like, particularly Mad Doc Rotsnick should just be a straight up freebooter, because he's got kicked out of the Duskulls for planting bombs in the Warboss's skull and all of the Knob skulls, and then blowing them all up. And he's basically like a mercenary that works for Gazgul now. So in that sense, it's not great, but it's probably good that we've got at least one character for most clans. I think
Bad Moon's the only ones that's missing, really.
Yeah. Nazdrag's never coming back. GGB would have the sense.
Actually, turns out no, Bad Ruck doesn't have the same aura. It's not the killer reputation, which killer reputation, while an enemy unit is within 3 inches, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of the models in that unit. And each time a combat attrition test is taken for that unit, subtract 1 from that combat attrition test. And while a friendly freebooter unit is within 6 inches of this model, add 1 to the leadership characteristics of the models in that unit. That's the killer reputation freebooter aura. But what Badrock has is called Flashy Skits, which is also an aura one, which is while a friendly Flash Skits unit is within 6 inches, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, re-roll, rolls a 1.
That's just the Badrock ability. He's got that, you're right, he's got that. But if he's your warlord, he gets killer reputation as his warlord trait. But that's in addition to that ability. And he's got another one as well. He's got it's his armor, isn't it? The gold tooth armor.
Yeah, gold tooth armor, yeah.
So yes, he's got the armor and the reroll 1 for this is for flash kits or whatever. In 6 inches. That's even if you just have him on as a second HQ or third or fourth or whatever. But if he's your warlord, he gets killer reputation. You couldn't give him brutal but cunning, for example. You'd have to give him killer rep.
Okay.
And he's got the Warboss keyword now, so he can call a war now, which is good.
Yeah.
So if you have him as your warlord, he can call. He didn't have that before, did he? He didn't have the.
No, but yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. It'd be nice if Snickrot had the Warboss keyword as well. That was a bit disappointing.
I
don't know why he doesn't.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
I've got the old metal version of him. I've just been putting them together, but I've not got the there's the back bit, the banner bit, and the sword. But I've changed the head for a different.
I mean, in the case of Snickrot and Zagstruck, they're both kind of mercenaries at this point. I mean, not really, because they're not true mercenaries because they don't demand payment, as far as I understand it. But I
think for more like legendary Viking warriors that have their own like posse around them, they just turn up and everyone's like, "God!" They've
got their little cadre and they fight for wars. And at the moment, they're fighting with Gars.
You could run an Evil Sun's army and stick Zagstruck in there, or Snakebite's army and stick Snickrot.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
I know what you mean about like the mercenary feel of it, but
yeah, I would imagine that. Well, I suppose. Well, yeah, it's just kind of a thing of. It just seems to me like it's kind of redundant to worry about things like that. I mean, really, what I would be thinking would be the better thing to do would be give all of those guys the Warboss keyword, and then just like you could do something like, for instance. I mean, I don't know how. I've not really read Gaz's profile in depth, so maybe this is already covered. But you could just seeing as Gaz is like the Warboss of Warbosses, like the King of Kings, you know. Just have him. Like any freaking Warbosses that are in his army lose the Warboss keyword because he's in charge.
Yeah, you can
and then you've covered every eventuality, and you can have all of the HQ characters who have worked for him and have fought for him in the same army as him, and it covers both. You know, they should be doing something like that, really. But I think the problem is GW doing the thing they do a lot, which is experimenting mid-game. They're just still iterating as the game comes out, and
just make up as we go along, won't we?
Yeah, basically. I mean, there's pros and cons. I'm mostly all about the cons, but surprise, surprise.
No,
just ask something, because like I say, I'm still getting my head around some of the more finer points. You can make any HQ your warlord, or any character your warlord.
Yeah,
any HQ, I think, and maybe it's character.
It used to be any character, yeah.
Right,
but it probably is HQ as well, I imagine. Although that said, isn't Macquarie a elite choice? And he's got a Warboss.
He's HQ now.
Oh, he's HQ now.
But even if you make someone like, say, Snickrot, your warlord, he can't call a war because he hasn't got the Warboss keyword.
He's got to have the Warboss.
Got a Warboss or Speed Boss.
Speed Boss, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the speed war. That is calling, not a normal war.
Right.
Which is different. Yeah.
The normal war is all about running in as fast as you can. The speed war is all about shooting more. Get your head around that.
I mean, that is quite fluffy, to be honest.
But it's basically like you can use your assault weapons and still move, isn't it? The speed bar.
Without you can use your assault weapons without penalty, and you get extra shot for each stack of weapon.
One of my favourite rules from Third Ed was when you charged Warbikers into a unit and you initiated combat. Because you charged in, you could, if you wanted, instead of fighting in the normal way, you shot the unit as your combat attacks, and it counted towards combat resolution in the same way.
Well, the bikes have the vehicle keyword, so they can shoot into combat now. Is that right? Their vehicle?
I don't know. I don't think they have got the vehicle keyword.
I think they're infantry still. Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
I think there's a biker keyword.
Biker, yeah, biker keyword, yeah, probably.
I think the rule's called Psycho Daka Blaster, if I'm remembering rightly. It's been a while since I read the Third Ed book, so I might be misremembering, but it's something to that nature.
Yeah, they're biker war bikes.
Not vehicle. That's a shame.
No. But cans are vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah. So they can shoot in a combat.
As are mech guns.
Well, they can shoot in a combat provided they don't have Grotsukas. Yet another nail in the freaking coffin for those damn Grotsukas.
I mean, like, at push, a can is a vehicle. There's a grot inside and he's getting somewhere.
Well,
fucking mech gun ain't going nowhere. I mean, it's got wheels, but that's just to fucking drag it on the back of a car or whatever, isn't it? Like, it ain't fucking. You ain't getting on a fucking mech gun to get your fucking. It's like a buff.
You go down to B&Q and buy a big bag of gravel. Yeah. You're dragging it home. You're not going to see my new vehicle. Isn't it good? I can drag it somewhere slowly.
Do rockets have blast as well? They must do.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
If you get pulled over on your motorbike speeding, I guarantee that the officer's going to say something along the lines of saying about your vehicle. Going to refer to it as your vehicle because it is a fucking vehicle.
Well, that's why I always carry my Codex around with us. Well, I think you'll find out.
Yeah, you're wrong because GW have not classified war bikes as vehicles, so they're not vehicles, mate. Clearly. But next time you see me rolling,
they're not war bikes. They're my bikes.
Fucking cannon, then you know I'm on a vehicle. All right. Because it says so in the book.
They're not war bikes, they're my bikes.
Those war bikes? No, they're war bikes. I thought they were war bikes. They're not war bikes, they're war bikes. Doesn't really work.
They're war bikes.
No, there's no point said. The Southerners not. I'm going to get it.
What are they talking about?
Orpington bread.
Well, it's similar. It's similar to the joke. General Custer, during his last stand, he had a drummer in his regiment that was from Newcastle, and they were just he's a drummer, and they heard sort of like a distant drumming. From like the native camps. It's like Colonel Custer turned to his Geordie drummer and went, "Geordie drummer, they've got war drums," and he's like, "The thieving bastards," because war can mean your.
Okay.
It wasn't worth it, was it?
Fucking enormous.
It's got war drums and war cymbal.
Oh dear.
The terrible thing is that I decided to tell the joke instead of letting Sydney tell the joke. Because Sid's Geordie accent is authentic, whereas mine's put on. Because I'm not quite northern enough.
You're good for a southerner, though.
I've got posh Durham, posh Geordie.
That fucking Durham's miles up north. Fucking miles up there. It's fucking well north.
Well, I tell you what isn't north. Fucking Manchester. Fuck them.
I mean, I don't really want to. I don't want to give weight to the argument that there's a place called the Midlands, though. So it's just north and south. That's it. That's all there is.
The big line about Watford.
Yeah.
That's where it is. South Mims Services.
That's south. Rest north.
That's it. It even says it on the signs. On the motorway.
Yeah.
North. That's it.
North.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah, you just drive around into it. If I see a sign that says north,
because we've got one that just says south.
South.
See,
The south, yeah.
there's that much of the country. It goes south.
The south.
Estonia.
actually, yeah, no, it says the south because it's the south. Whereas I think down here it just says north.
It just has written on the sign SARF. South.
South.
So like, you know where you,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
where you're heading.
No,
Say all your hellos now before you get there.
I don't think.
Otherwise, you'll be stoned in the street.
I don't think the is there because you put it there, because it's not like you've got better English than us, is it? It's more likely that it's there because we earned it.
I know as you go down, when you get to
The
Yorkshire,
south.
when you get
The
to
south.
Yorkshire, they start adding it. They put the T there first, which says south. And
The south. Yeah.
South.
South. And they add the letters as you go.
I mean,
down.
Yorkshire's kind of muddy because there's different bits of it, and some of it's t, some of it's t, some of it's like there's almost no bit of it where it's like universal. There's different bits of it, but most of them have a linguistic war against the definite article. Yes, but
I said before,
They've got their own signs up there.
My favourite sentence in Yorkshire is, "It isn't in the tin." Just
tin, tin, tin.
tin, 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 tin. Where's the biscuits? And tin, tin, tin. Oh, brilliant.
There was I went walking through the Yorkshire Dales one time when I was in my early mid-20s. For like, I don't know, I was there for about 7 days walking through, and I see this sign, and I took a photograph of it, and I shared it around quite a bit at the time because I thought it was just hilarious. It was handwritten as well, and it literally was written in their dialect. So it was "Tech care lambs ont road." Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. That's so sweet.
True though. Buggers always are.
Wet Wang today, which I thought was quite fun.
Oh yeah, Wet Wang. I've been to Wet Wang. Yeah, that's cracking.
Wet Wang.
Not as often as I would like.
I should twin it with that place in Essex, that Finger in Hoe.
And the minge. There's a place actually just down there. I'm not even going to say it because it's no, I won't because it's too controversial. But no, I ain't gonna. I actually won't. There's a place. I won't because I know it just leads in the wrong direction entirely. But there is a place down here that I have to drive through quite regular between Haywards Heath and Eastbourne and Hastings, in that sort of triangle. There's a little village. No, there's a little village with a really, really, really not like totally un-PC name. Like, I'm surprised it survived. I would have thought it would have been changed, but yeah.
Right, Google search.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I would have thought, yeah, you'd get in trouble for that, but no.
Yeah, well, the first time they brought out on the phones where you could like set your location, like, you know, that you use GPS and it sort of updates your location, but you can set it as a default. And I was looking for somewhere just to set as my default, and I found a place called Bell End Farm. And I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm at Bell End Farm. I was there for years. Absolutely, yeah. I forgot to update it or anything. I was like, oh, I've still got that form. I'm going to take it off now. Now I'm meant to win.
What are you hobbying then?
Well, I'm building alien figures for the Aliens board, the Guild Force 9 Aliens board game. Got the get away from her, you bitch, kind of the loader to build. Done most of the figures. I bought the expansions and then the pack that's got like the 3D game accessories in it because I'm a fucking spend happy git. So
that an additional part of the game is that like an expansion?
Yeah, there's so basically you can get you can buy all the figures separately. You don't need to get the game, which I think is actually quite a good call. Although molds aren't too bad, but they definitely could be better. Some of the mold lines are particularly annoying, but I would say advantage being a wargamer, I think this is going to be a lot worse for board gamers who haven't tabletop gamed like us.
Push fit, or you got to glue them together.
You got to glue them together. Look nice when they're done. Look all right. I'll probably try and chuck up a picture rather than try and show the camera because I know they're fuzzy before. But there's a bunch of expansions, and there is an expansion called "Get Away From You Bitch," where you get like you get the. I mean, obviously the bitch bit is, censored, but you get Ripley carrying Newt. You get Bishop before and after, shall we say? The Power Loader and the Alien Queen. I've not built the Alien Queen yet. And then like the base game, you get like 6 of the characters, including Ripley, but you get like in the base game you get like Ripley, Newt, Gorman, Hicks, Hudson, and Vasquez. And
they're all Blood Angels Terminators, yeah?
Basically. In effect, it does seem remarkably like Space Hulk in a number of ways. A little bit more abstract, even more than Space Hulk. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then obviously there's an expansion where you can get the Ultimate Badasses, where you get like basically everybody else who I've not mentioned already. So like all the other ones, the ones whose names I can't remember, and obviously the slimy guy from Wayland Yutani as well.
Mm-hmm. That came off My Two Dads.
I think so.
With Greg Kinney. No, not Greg Kinney. Is that him with the checky shirt?
Yes.
Black. Yeah, he was in My Two Dads as well.
Right. Yeah. He kind of makes me think of Mr. Reaper from Babylon 5. God, that dates me. But
try seeing My Two Dads, mate.
I don't think that's the same actor. I don't think so. But they definitely played similar roles of like characters you'll have to hate. But yeah, actually they've got the names on. I keep forgetting they've got the names written on the basis, so I can just read them out. So like the ones you get in the Ultimate Badass set is another 6 one. So you get Burke, Crow, Wabowski, Acorn, Drake, and Dietrich. So there's only really the dropship crew left, I think, of the entire cast. And obviously you get like a bunch of aliens in the base game as well. And then there's you can get like a 3D 3D game accessories bit. So you've got like eggs and facehuggers. The eggs and the facehuggers. I can't remember if the facehuggers are in the base game or not. But I think the eggs are a new thing because they're for the Alien Queen expansion.
They look quite detailed on the
smart guns. They're not bad. I mean the mold lines are a problem, but sandpaper. Just been like trying to deal with them.
I've been trying to sort out a bunch of stuff for eBay. I've loads and loads and loads of miniatures that my brother gave to me, and I've got like 700 or 750 a few of these 1/72 scale World War II soldiers, and that's just the figures. That's just the soldiers. Like there's a couple of black sacks full of tanks and planes and.
Oh, was this the skip rescue?
Yeah, the big skip horde. Yeah,
nice.
I've got. I mean, these ones are on sprue and loose, but there's loads of them still in cellophane, and yeah, there's a full.
Someone just chucked them all out.
Yeah, full collection like that. That's just the 1/72 scale figures. 700, I counted them.
Wow.
An old folks' home, wasn't it?
Yeah. So someone that was. Yeah, this is one of the things actually that happened, I think, just a week or two before Gar. So my brother had found like 8 black sacks full of on the sprue and still some in the box and in cellophane and that miniatures, all World War I and II based. Mostly all of them are. There's a few that are cars, and they're sort of bigger cars, classics and all sorts, and a couple of boats that are obviously a much smaller scale because they're only sort of yay big or whatever, so they're miniaturized because they're huge battleships. But most of it's usable scales for 40k and Gaslands and stuff like that. There's just so much of it. I've picked a few bits out for myself. I've put a couple of really useful boxes. Put a few sprues in a couple of those, but I've still got like 8 sacks.
I'm still trying to figure out where about 1/72 is. Is that so? That is probably 20mm scale, is it?
Oh, hang on, let me pick them up. Yeah, they're perfect for Gaslands, mate. That's what.
Yeah, so they're about 20. They're about 20mm, mate. Because I happen to already know the Gaslands is about 20mm.
Right. That's an orc, and that's a person on sprue there for 1/72.
Oh, right, yeah. Is it like Flames of War stuff? Because actually no, that's 15mm, isn't it? That's a 15mm game, I think. So it won't be that.
It's 1/72 is a really popular scale amongst war game and historical collectors for World War I and II, because you can have quite a few tanks and planes and stuff, but still have.
It's a nice scale and balance of scale.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's the Jeep. Yeah. Hang on, let me just grab it. Hang on. There's a couple of bits and bobs that are like vehicular, and like I'm looking at them thinking, wow, like the details are really good. Like there's this, I won't get it out of the bag because it's actually still sealed in the bag, but this is like a truck in here, like an ambulance, but it's really, really well detailed. Like it's got some really good bits. Like, yeah, there's a guy on a stretcher laid out who looks like he's in pain and shit. It's pretty good.
I was gonna say, like, there's model kits like that are a really good source for Greeblies. Like
carriage and horses. Loads of it, mate.
Oh, that is one thing I also found, just quickly. So I was working on when I was still going to a Games Workshop. I used to help the staffer make sort of games, and I was working on like a Brewhouse Bash, a revamp, but where all of the members of the Brewhouse Bash were like, I mean, this is showing you how upset I am because look, they're all on 40mm bases, but I've got these will show up terribly because they're just painted, they're just undercoated black, but like I'll have a go at seeing if I can get like a decent shot of them. But
the thing I wanted to quickly just that's better.
So that's like a freebooter with like he's got like a little retractable claw arm. And I've got like Evilson is monowheel.
Yeah, cool.
That's actually done well.
And then for a Goth, it's just left fist, right fist, boss pull.
I've been waiting for someone to do left and right.
Take
Just,
it all. I love it.
Mando. The Bad Moon I'm not entirely happy with, but I gave him like a very rough Kit Bash Deluxe kick and leg.
That's pretty cool. I'm doing a bit of painting myself. I've been last few nights when I had the chance.
You got your,
I finally put
your
the
1,500 points done yet?
No, but I'm going in for well, actually, I say like Steve, look, it makes no difference to me, like whether how much points I do. It just I'm doing it in a batch anyway.
Yeah.
Like the ones I started painting, and I've made a couple of 2,000 point lists out of it. So that basically means if I was to just put it into one list, it's probably about 3,000 points. But I ain't told him that because he's already like, 2,000 points is way too much for you to be trying to do it once. I'm like,
yes, Steve was quite exasperated by Dread's system. But it wouldn't be Dread if he wasn't finding a way to make it harder for himself. It's just, you know,
exactly.
you just got to let him get on with it. Because he's not going to listen.
I'm doing it. I've been so busy all year with moving and like getting back to a career and stuff. I ain't had time, and I haven't had the desks. You know, I had to buy furniture and stuff. Like I had all that before. Now I had to buy it all again.
I've had the time and I've done fuck all. He's done far more than me.
So I've been doing it.
Yeah. It's just been funny watching.
Have a game. That's all.
I think one of the things that puts me behind is like I'm ploughing into the vehicles. Just the orcs. I did a new skin technique with these that I'm semi happy with to a degree, but not 100% yet. So I'm like, I know I need to highlight it, but I'm afraid to. So I'm just like, I'm putting it off. I'll do that later.
Nate, this is it's worrying me how like me he is in that respect with him.
Dread. You can do it now, or you can do it later. But if you do it later, you wish you'd done it now.
Nice.
Simple as that.
Do you know, you just brought it back to Gar, and I didn't finish what I was alluding to there with the finding all the hold of the miniatures. Was like, that seemed like so weird that they were going to go to landfill. You know, like they've been thrown away. Like this fellow was a serious modeler to have that amount. He's got more stuff than me. Like when I brought that back, I was like, that's more models than I've got, and I've got a lot of stuff. But if someone was to rip it all out of all the boxes and everything I've got it in, I don't think I could say I've got 8 black bin bags full to the brim of sprue. I've got quite a bit, and not 8 bin bags full, maybe 6. But this fella's got more than me. I figured it, and I'm like, wow. And someone just threw that away. Like it was going to go into the fucking land. It was just going to get buried. And by some pure chance, it got back to not just a person that might find it interesting, but someone that's also a model enthusiast. That's just weird. And so when we had this news about Gar, like obviously I was proper upset. Like when the first day, particularly when I heard about it, I was at college. It sucked. It really wasn't good. But then I got worried. Then I started thinking, oh shit. Actually, I think who was it who said that? Fucking hell. I think it might have been you, Clint, even, who said something about his all his gear. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I started worrying, like, what if it just isn't used or appreciated? But then now we know his son is like, you know.
It's going to be nice,
That really makes me feel happy. Yeah. You know, it feels like it's.
You know, the old fella, or possibly lady, to be fair, you know, 2021. Whose models were that your brother found in the skip, you know for a fact they would 100% prefer you to have those models.
Yeah.
Care about
just
them.
end up in the skip
or even on eBay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm going to sell the ones I don't want because I've got too many, but I'm going to give some away in the competition.
But as they end up in the hands of somebody who will appreciate them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Just to think, it's going to go in the bin, proper in the bin.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Melted it down and made into milk bottle tops or something like that.
So I do feel like there's a little bit of, you know, like what you were saying earlier about how Gar was trying to encourage all the time to sort of do more of what you do more hobby, like, you know, encouraging that creativity, you know, like that's hopefully passed down to his son with his collection. You know, he'll see it all and he'll be like, yeah.
You know what his son said to us today, to me, and said with that, like the 40k alt community, before he found this community, he was getting ready to sell all of his stuff, all of it. He'd lost heart with it, everything. He was getting it priced up, and he was going to sell the lot, everything. He found the 40.
He'd regret it one day.
No, but he found the 40k alt community, and that inspired him to
get back,
crack it all out again and carry on. So look at that. How awesome is this community for inspiring not just Gar, and then he came in and then inspired loads of other people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To love
I think because Gar was kind of out of it before, and like the 40k YouTubers had like got him back into it to an extent and helped him get back. I think that's kind of the enduring thing about the whole thing is just like that's kind of how you do it. Like it was something that had dawned on me quite a bit. There was like when I was, because I'm kind of half fancy doing some YouTubey stuff, and I could have gone a couple of directions. I could have gone the Outer Circle style negative about Games Workshop direction. I was tempted. Yeah. But just because I have to stop myself because I used to be very good at arguing and very fucking good at arguing.
Are you saying you didn't choose that path?
I deliberately chose not to. Chose not to.
I just want to clarify. Okay, right.
Yeah.
I'm sure me and the rest of the audience are on the same page right now.
Oh no! For this channel, I do what the fuck I like, but no. For the
in your bed, but I ain't gonna see in mine.
Well, I didn't plan it. I didn't plan it though. This is the thing with the Warbosses. People assume I planned this. Fucking didn't. I didn't even expect I was going to be on it.
He does all the editing.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's a shame that Dredd never got to talk this month. It would have been really nice if it had a word to say.
Again, haven't I?
No.
He was muted the whole time.
No, but what was I going to say? Fucking hell, Dredd. No, but like, I was tempted. But like, the thing is that the thing that drives me more than anything is trying to keep the bit of the hobby that I really love alive. And Gar is just one of the people who has kind of shown how you do that, because it's like you celebrate what you like and you encourage people to do it.
Absolutely. And you catch more flies with honey than shit.
Yeah.
But actually, they're both very effective. Let's say honey than vinegar, because shit's actually good for catching flies. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's true.
But yeah, it is positivity kept or inspired a lot of people to keep pushing on, to do more, to see things and go, yeah, I'm going to do that. Like Space Hulk, that he was doing with Mega Knobs instead of Space. I could look at Space Hulk and go, yeah. I mean, I remember Space Hulk from a kid. I quite enjoyed playing it, but I'm like, I'm not that bad about the Marines or the Gene Stealers. Do you want to play it with Orcs instead of Terminators? Yeah.
Sounds really
fucking
good.
right, I do. That would be awesome. So, like, you know, well, hang on. I do have an old, you know, whatever else, you know, whatever game or whatever. I could just adapt that, or I could change this, or I can do this, or it's just so many things you can take inspiration from when somebody else does something, and when they're pushing it. And also, it's getting on to the positivity thing we started about and talked about at the start. But if you're buzzing about something, that's infectious. It rubs off on other people. And to a degree, mind, so does negativity. It goes both ways, but it's the positive thing creates, and I think that's you know, there might be bits you don't like. Fair enough. You know, everyone's got an opinion. Focus on the things you do. Focus on the positive aspects that you do like, and inspire people with that.
I think that's with you, Dim. I think with the obviously not liking the game aspect of it. It's like if you like, well, just these three people in this video chat now, this video we're doing now. If you played with us three,
oh yeah, I'd play you guys. Yeah.
Love it. You'd have fun.
It'd be fine. Yeah,
you'd have fun. You'd enjoy it, even if the rule set isn't.
I wouldn't.
As good as
I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I would like, but I would still enjoy it. Yeah,
you'd still enjoy it. Yeah.
Like if you get yourself,
the game becomes a secondary concern. Really, that's why. I mean, I got back into this because of the hobby aspect. Really, it was like something to do over lockdown. And I never had any intention of playing the game, to be honest. But I've since started playing it, and I'm looking forward to the next one, and in subsequent games, because I'm going to be playing with mates, people I already know, and I'd happily play any Hughes or many others out there. I chat with them in the community, and in one form or another, happily do that. There's probably people out there I wouldn't enjoy playing against, so I'll not. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah.
Easy.
I know those people go to places and go, I want a game. Who will play me? And somebody will go, I'll play you. I'm a twat. And they go, oh, okay. Then they have a horrible experience because they've played a twat. Well, fair enough. If you're that desperate to play the game, you'll play a twat. That's your bag. Fair enough. It's not mine. I'd rather play a rubbish game with somebody I get on with and have a laugh than a perfect game with somebody I hate. Well, not hate, hate's a strong word, but hate the experience of it. Do you know what I mean?
It may be just that some people literally don't have, perhaps, I'm just making excuses for them, but maybe they don't have time at all to engage in a community to make proper friends in the hobby, that they end up just having to, just like every other thing that they've got in their busy schedule, like they might be like working all day and then have 19 different clubs that they're a member of, and I think it's 40k on the fortnightly Thursday evening, is just one of their slots sort of thing,
Yeah.
I think the act of winning is an element of control. It's an element of other parts of my life might not be going particularly well, but I can figure out how to do well at a competitive game. And I think to some extent that's some people's draw is that they're only really interested in the playing and winning side of it, because that's the bit that they see as the function of it. And that's legit. Like, people can do that if they want. But the problem we've got with our hobby is we've got this very broad church still of different priorities, for want of a better term. And we've never really figured out a nice, convenient shorthand way of finding out before a game starts, are you a sweaty power gamer?
No, there is. Yeah. It's really easy. All you have to ask is, I've got the answer for this. You just literally say to your opponent, just before we start, we're mid-game and one of your vehicles just, like your battle wagon just died. You've got to roll to see if it explodes. Oh, you get a 6. And then just look at their eyes. Because if their eyes pop out their head and they look scared or annoyed or frustrated or angry or something like that, then they're not their opponent. If they go, hey! If they think that's going to be funny, then play them. Because that's what you want to play. Someone who's, when their vehicle explodes, they go, oh, it went boom! No, it was your vehicle. Yeah, so it went boom. It was fun.
It was an epic moment.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why we played a game.
I just do want to point. I'm not saying you can only play people who are your friends. I mean, you can play people you don't, you haven't played before.
Yeah.
But then from that experience, you'll know quite early on if you want to continue playing, not the game, but like in future, or if they're not for me. I would.
Generally, I do think.
I would just say I've got one model here which isn't painted. I was going to play the 10 points for a painted army rule, and if I go, yeah, we definitely are. I'm not bothering. Yes.
Because you're going to lose points on this. We are playing that one.
But like, just having experienced the sort of like the GW community, I think it's quite telling that I pretty much have a rule these days that I only play people I know and like.
That's fair enough.
But and I mean that is one of the rules that I think spun me out a little bit, was the thou must be painted. They like. The thing is like, I mean, maybe I'm a little oversensitive on this, but it just seems to me like when you're in a hobby, like the spoonful of sugar is always better than shoving the medicine down your throat. Like carrot and stick is not the way to go. It isn't.
But I thought that was. I'm not saying I agree with it as such, because obviously there's, people might not always have a painted army due to time restrictions, or maybe they've just got a brand new unit they want to use. But I thought that was a way to restrict those who just bought, to restrict the sweaty power gamers who would just buy a unit because it was a flavour of the month and just stick it together, maybe partially, and go, that's that. And you go, well, if you're hobbying, you're going to aim to have a painted army because you're doing the hobby because you want to build something.
Yeah, but that's
that's amazing.
We're back to the same problem though, because it's like they're trying. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to deal with that exploit. But the fact is, but maybe they're trying to deal with that exploit. But what they've ended up doing is negatively affecting beginners and other hobbyists who have different priorities. And it just seems like it's.
But then again, in the official tournaments, you can't use minis.
Yeah, but tournaments have their extra rules. That's kind of the point. Yeah. And so I could understand it being there, even if GW just did a section called tournament rules. So here's our suggestion for a set of universal tournament rules. Use them in your own tournaments and have it there. Don't have it in the main game. They have it in the main games. Just
I thought they sort of done that.
The grand tournament book, isn't it?
Yeah. Because they've got the whole narrative thing, which is just, it's like taking the other side. Instead of saying tournament, you must do this, they just go narrative.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I know this is kind of sad, but if I'm just playing the game to see who wins or loses, I care less if they're painted well or if they're painted. Whereas if I'm playing a narrative campaign, I want all those models painted.
Yeah.
On both sides. It just seems but then I still don't think it should be an inducement. But that's just kind of again, I just think it's better to encourage than to expect. Particularly
unless the narrative campaign is that they're in a world without colour. It's gradually forming colour as time goes on. It's it's
the kind of writing I like.
It's manifesting. It's becoming, and so every week you come with your army just that little bit more paint on. That's your only excuse. There you go. It's narrative.
I don't think that's a rule which many people. You certainly don't see it a lot when you watch the bat reps online and stuff. Nobody they don't even mention it. It's to be fair, most of these are with fully painted armies.
Yeah.
Mostly, not all.
Yeah, I'll say I've seen some unpainted ones, and we're just tightening up the points, and and I've got 10 painted. And
And also the other thing is really, I know I say this a lot, but I think when you boil it down, it's just interesting that rule suddenly comes into a rule book around about the edition of the game that follows on from their contrast paint release. It's an interesting coincidence, isn't it? We've got a miracle quick paint system that sells very expensive paints. We've now got a rule where you've got to be painted. That's an interesting coincidence.
The weird thing is some of them are actually awesome. Some of the contrast paints are actually pretty cool. Yeah. And then others are complete misses.
The Space Wolf one. Why did they bother with it? It's some of them are pretty cool. They're not my style. I don't really. I've tried this glaze painting before, and it's not my jam. I don't really get it. I like to layer paint on, so they were never something that I was that attracted to. I have done it before. I've got I mean, if you paint nids, it's a classic way to paint nids to use ink, because this is obviously a Kraken. It's also a Kraken model. Sorry, another northern pun. And very, very blurry, but it's Kraken Paintscape, so it's paint the red, sepia everywhere, done. Bit of detail. Terrible paint job, but I rushed them for a tournament. So, yeah. I can see the merits of it in certain situations, but for me, I'd rather take the time and make them look really nice. And unfortunately,
I use contrast paints all the time, but not solely contrast paints. I'll use contrast paints and layer paints, and contrast sort of like glazing made easy. I'll begin in glazing. I've started doing proper glazing on top of layered, and I think I'm quite pleased with the results I've got so far. Although I'll not be doing it on every model, just like on carrot and that, because it's a bit time consuming.
I've done Zenithal priming, and then I've glazed, but only on the things that I think it works on. So I've gone on fabrics and on skin, because it works on those things, and furs. But armor and other things like that, I'm doing just standard layering and the normal way that you'd usually go about those things. A bit of dry brushing and that. The glazing, it does work with organic things, but I still feel like it needs something. That's what I was saying before about my skin. I'm not quite happy because it looks really good. When you look at it close, you're like, wow, it's got like loads of contrast to it and different areas of interest. But when you look at it from a distance, it just doesn't really stand out as much. So it does need more of a highlight. But yeah, I don't know.
That's always the toss up, isn't it? It will look awesome when you hold it there in front of you, but then on the table, if you haven't got thick edge highlights and you really pop the contrast on it, then you can either have it looking great right in front of you or great on the tabletop. It's really hard to get both. Do you know what I mean? To get them two different schemes. That's quite hard, I think.
As the ones that look spot on the table, you can guarantee someone will go, wow, that's really, oh, Jesus.
Exactly.
What's up with that edge highlight? No. So, pick a distance, mate. You can't have them both. Christ.
Yeah, and then you see some of these like showcase armies on Instagram, like some of the miniatures, unbelievable paint jobs. And I've seen them a couple of times anyway, seen some of these people that I follow be invited onto a channel, and you see their army playing, and you're like, oh, they don't really stand out. And it's like, it's that.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Pick your battles.
Exactly, but I think, like Dim says, like there's some armies that suit, or some figures, and like I'm saying, some textures even that suit glazing better than others, I think.
Oh yeah, nids are ideal for it because it's all like fleshy details, like lots of detailed, weird, alien Geigerish ridges. Just takes in perfectly.
Any Death Guard stuff or Nurgle stuff as well is always good for that sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Nurgle, you kind of want to do it. I mean, the only thing I think would work almost as well, and I think even then it'll not look great, is like, I'd love to do like some ridiculous bullshit wet blending, but I just don't have the skills. Like glazing's so much more straightforward. And considering some of the paints and the way they design these days to save your effort, like, you might as well just glaze. Just a better option. It'll do the hard work for you and it'll look fine. I suffer a bit from perfectionism. That's my big problem. I've got a set of perfectionist principles, and they are 2 to 5 maybe levels above my ability. So I'm never happy. I always spot.
What it is, if you're advancing in the hobby, you always look at whatever you've done and you always think next one, I can do that one step better. That's advancement. That's progression in your hobby.
Nowhere to draw the line and go, that's done. Am I 100% happy with it? Probably not. Nobody ever is, because you never are with your own stuff.
Yeah.
That's it though. It's done. Put it aside. Get the next one. Crack on. Maybe get a little bit better. That's the way I do it. But I'll mix and just straight up contrast with layered paints, with everything. I'll put them all together. I think if you've got a decent sized character or something, you want to make them pop, just pick a couple of contrasts and colours, a couple of so he stands out from a distance. Like that Beast Boss on Squigosaur, which I called Gargrod, meaning Gar and friend, put together as like a little tribute thing. The Squig's bright blue. The Orc's obviously quite a bright green because I don't mind all. But when it pops like from a distance on the table. But when you look closer, I've put the detail, the glaze and the effort, all that sort of stuff, into little bits like the chopper and the leg. And so you can see it from close up, but it also still pops on the tabletop just with the overall choice. Now, that's an easy one because it's a big old squig.
Yeah.
There's a lot of colour to put on there.
I find that easy to do with things like battle wagons and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I've started using oil paints.
Yeah, I've just started doing that too.
The oil washers, and that's to be fair. I think contrast paint's easy. Oh yeah, oil paints is. I mean, I'm Zenithal highlighting them. Here's me Commandos. He is. Yeah. I mean, I've had to go quite heavy with it, and then I'll just cover that in contrast, except for the equipment and the metals, because you need to put a solid silver on that. I'll contrast it, and then I'll just put 2 oil washes on. Magenta and black on the flesh, and magenta and I think it's burnt umber. Is it burnt umber? What was it? Okay. Something like that. It's one of the browns on the equipment and gear, and then just obviously clean it up. And I've done some Storm Boys with it, and I've done all 5 in one night, which is pretty unprecedented for me, to be fair. And I was really pleased with it came out. A lot more grimdark than my normal stuff, which is quite cartoony.
Yeah,
but it looks.
That's decent. What I like the oils for. Like the mix I'm going with is mostly black with a little bit of the burnt umber and a very tiny smidge of purple.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. It's way cooler than Nuln oil or any of that sort of stuff. It's definitely the way I want to be going.
A bit of time sitting there with you. You go through a lot of cotton buds or Q-tips. Sorry, Q-tips. If you're across the pond, but again, all 5 minus the Zenithal, the Primal Zenithal was a night before, but all the contrast, all the oil washes, all the cleaning up, all done in one night. You
don't have to be so clean with your contrast later either, do you?
No, not really.
Oil washing it, don't have to be so neat and tidy with it.
If there's a joint on the bottom, the oil's going to be filling up more than the joint. It's going to be a little bit thicker, and it gives you a lovely sort of gradient as well from where you totally clean it off. And the metallics, to be fair, you buff them up and they get a nice shine on the silvers and the coppers and what have you, and then towards the edges it goes back to being a bit mankier.
I suppose that's the nature of the material, but it's something really weird about contrast and the way that the way they tried to market it was bad.
Yeah.
The product itself is decent, but the marketing was terrible. They just didn't know how to pitch it, so they pitched it 5 different ways, half-heartedly, and none of them really fitted for what it was. The fact that it's quick, not really. I suppose it's easier, it's less technical, it's not quicker though, because you've got to be incredibly neat. You've got to be, because it fucks up the process if you're not. So in many ways, it's slower, but it's less layers and it's less requirement of having actual technique. But at the same time, I really don't think it's good for beginners.
There's a lot of, like you say, there's a lot of putting on a contrast colour and then going back with some of your base colour, like your primer, to touch up the bits where you've slopped over from a pouch onto pants or vice versa. Or
it's great for beginners if you don't make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you need to be experienced hobbyist who knows how to fix mistakes like that. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. I mean, I don't think you could ever be anything other than that with the nature of painting. Painting's always like that. But that was the thing. I nearly forgot. We're talking about, Sid mentioned colour stuff. Marco Frassoni, who's one of the hobby tuber painty people. I would recommend his channel anyway, but he's just done a redo of his colour theory video, his first colour theory video. He's got a very thick Italian accent. It might be difficult for you to listen to, but give it a listen because it's fucking amazing.
He's brilliant. He really is.
I'm starting.
Had a big mouth.
Yeah,
a very big mouth sounds great. I love it.
Yeah, he's got. It's very. I don't know, but it's very Italian. That's the only way I can really put it. But he's great. Yeah. Sort of. But yeah, his videos are great. But his most recent one, like, it's the first one where some of the ideas of color theories managed to stay in my brain for more than 2 weeks. So it's obviously doing something right, but he's just looking at different ways to teach the techniques in it without you having to go and get an art degree. So, yeah, check out that if you're interested in color theory stuff. He did quite a bit of it and looked at different ways of doing it. It's a great video. It's a fantastic video. It's from last week, I think.
Yeah.
Just some great stuff.
Painter I've found is you seen him, Victor Quez, he's a Spanish guy. He's out in Belgium. Yeah. He does a lot. He's a bloody good painter, quick as well, and prolific, like unbelievable. So fast, and he's got some great tutorials on his little channel. Just simple, just painting and but he uses contrast paints quite a lot, and he uses them to great effect. And he's a really good. Because
there's another one of the I think he's Spanish. He might be Portuguese. I'm not sure. But much in a similar vein, like good on contrast, it does a lot of really cool contrast stuff. It's Juan Hidalgo.
Yeah.
He's really good as well. He's got some good contrast tutorial stuff. He's been doing a lot of the contrast. There's been a bunch of the hobby painty people who are playing with these things and finding out ways to make them work, and just happily just sharing how to do it online. Like, I wish YouTube existed when I started to try and paint, and instead I painted an ultramarine. I painted an ultramarine from like a flamer, a metal flamer ultramarine from a blister pack, with the paint starter set from well, not literally this edition, but like these shaped pots that not the ones that flippy like this one, the ones where you had to screw them off. Yeah. The bolter shell ones, I think they call them, because they're based on bolter shells. And I painted the blue one so thickly that it cracked.
Nice.
Thin your paints.
I tried a metal Demon Prince. Didn't prime it, didn't know nothing, did nothing at all. Just tried to paint straight onto the bare metal. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Yeah.
That was standard for me. Oh. Absolutely standard. Yeah. I bought 5 nights. I bought 3 blister packs as my first ever models when I was 13.
Yeah.
And one of them was a blister pack of 5 nights. And I painted the plumes and the shields and the axe handles because the rest are already metal. Why do I need to paint it? You know what I mean? And they were horrific.
Mm. But you loved them,
well, I thought, yeah, well, whatever. I didn't prime for the first, God, it must have been 4 or 5 years. I was just going straight onto the metal.
I've always primed.
But if you put it on thick enough, it works.
Yeah. No doubt.
In a horrible, horrible way.
Yeah.
Right, chaps. I suppose we'll wrap it up, haven't we?
Yeah, we probably should. Do you remember when you were saying, "Oh, we should probably say at the start of this will probably be a short episode."
It'll probably be a short episode, yeah.
Probably. I dread to think how long it is. We've been going a while.
Yeah, I've got to be up bloody early again. I've got exams again tomorrow.
12 o'clock.
Is it? Yeah. Well, we best call it a night then, lads.
I was going to say I expected it to be later, so there's that.
Oh, there you go.
There's that.
Is there a little clock on this telling us how long it's been recording for?
Not on this one, no.
Hang on, I might as well look at proper old bastard.
Get your pipe.
But yeah, so stay on target. No. So what Sid Essex, what's your double thing called again? You know, when you do your 2 bald knobs, but not 2 bald knobs.
What's it called?
Odd Boys.
Odd Boys. It never stays up there. So yeah.
Just look at them. It's easy.
Oh. He's learning to be savage. He's been learning it off us because we've been savaging him for like
they've been
a year and a bit.
I've learned to dish it now. I was such a sweet and innocent dread before I met these three.
Yeah.
Oh, Dread, you could
convince anyone. Right, anyway, wrapping it up, boys and gits. These gits have been the people I introduced at the beginning, and I've been Dread. Enough said.
See you later.
Take care.
There you go.
Toodle pips.
I think that's the best wrap up we've ever done.